Alrighty folks, welcome back to the shop today. We're getting going on it finally. We got down here early so we could get a jump on it. Let me show you what we got. So we've got the motor here that we pulled the injectors out of. This is LB7 out of an 02 Duramax. Injectors were junk. That's why we got it for a good price. But I've got all the parts to get this in the donor truck, so the injectors showed up. We're gonna get this thing cleaned up and get back together. So over here, I've wire wheeled all the silicone off my lowers. We'll change this gasket here once we get to it. And then on the uppers, same thing. I wire wheeled the silicone off there. Sent a real soft wire brush down here and cleaned around the injector holes where the lines are going to pass through the valve covers there. I've wire wheeled the O-ring grooves on the cups. Got all the old Loctite off the cups there. So as we go, I don't know how far I'm going to get today, so kind of as I go, I will clean as I need things. But right here, we've got to clean the upper part of this bore and then down in the bottom. So I have this extendo thing on my drill and a flapper wheel that's just the right size to clean these upper bores. I will take this out. I've got a little wire brush that'll go down and clean those. So let me set you guys up. We'll get these all cleaned up. We'll do a little brake clean action. And we'll get going on this thing because parts are here and we need it. We've got the time to do it, so let's get after it. All right, so we take this guy and we don't need a whole lot of speed. And these usually don't get terribly dirty. Just kind of give us a fresh pattern there. We'll move you here, same deal. Okay, I'll do that. Get those done. Let me switch to the wire brush and I'll show you what we do down in the bottoms. Alright, so I got a little wire brush. We'll do the bottoms here. You don't need to get the entire bore clean. I'll try and show you here. So the cup doesn't sit in the entire bore down there. So we'll just get the part we need clean, and then I'll run a little brush down the hole where the cup pilot's in. But let me get the rest of these. We'll get this one here. Now remember, these are aluminum heads. That's half the reason why the Duramax is so good. They're lightweight, but you can mess these heads up really easy. I've done it, so take your time, be gentle. You take care of your heads will take care of you. So I'll get the rest of these done on the lowers, and then we'll get the cups cleaned up, and I think we're ready to start going together. All right, so I've got this brass brush, little bore brush set up on this little handle deal. Comes in a nice little kit. We'll clean out the tips here, or where the tip of the injector comes through. We'll clean that out real nice, and then I don't know if you can tell, the bottoms of these cups, they just get full of junk. So I've got another one of these little brushes, a little bit smaller. We'll clean up the very bottom where that copper seats, and then I've got another bore brush here. It's a little bit bigger. It's 3/4. I'll get that set up either in the drill or whatever, and we'll clean out the main body of this thing. So we'll get those cleaned out. A little brake clean, we'll be ready. Alrighty, we got these all cleaned up in there, brake cleaned off. We all got the new O-rings on there. I cleaned all of our crab clamps, whatever these hold down deals are called. Got those all cleaned up. I'm gonna get the bolts cleaned off and get these injectors unwrapped. Going with injectorsdirect.com on injectors. I went with their refurbished set in my work truck. I've got 500,000 miles on that thing now. I replaced the injectors 170,000 miles ago. They're still great. No smoke, starting cold. Been great. So we reached out to them. They says, yeah, we need to put some injectors, direct injectors in there. So that's what we got. Got another refurbished set. They've been great. So I'm gonna get these lubed up. I've lubed the upper bores here. We're gonna get the Loctite out and we'll show you how to do all this. Probably get a time lapse of it, and here we go. All right, I removed this cap temporarily. We're gonna put a little slickum around this O-ring here, and then we'll put one around the body O-ring, and then I'm gonna put this cap back on for now. Now we're gonna get our Loctite out. They provide you with these. I'm gonna go find something to nip me into this with. Okay, got our Loctite here. Let me open this up. Okay, we're gonna put some right here on this flange. You don't need a whole lot of the Loctite. So we've got it around this flange here. We'll just take it here, get a nice wipe, a little bit down the nipple that protrudes into the cylinder in the combustion chamber. Nice thin even coat right there. Okay, we'll set that there. Now we're going to lube up the O-rings here like so. Now we're going to go get our injector bolts ready, and I'll meet you over at the engine. Okay, so I've already pre-lubed this upper, so we're going to put this in nice and straight and not touch that lower onto our upper. Now these push in by hand. You do not tap these with a hammer. I figured that out the hard way. Just like that. And they go in flush. So before that Loctite can set up, you got to pull this plastic one off the tip. Drop your copper washer. Let's see. I don't think it matters. Drop that in there. Make sure it lines up flat like that. We've lubed the O-ring here. We need an injector hold down. We're going to go in like this. And sometimes you can push these in. Push it in like that. Put a little bit of oil under the head of this bolt, because it's kind of a concave design to allow this crab foot or whatever this hold down's called to move. We'll put that in there. Let me grab the torque measurement, the torque tool. Now I'm pretty sure the spec on these hold down bolts is 35 or 36, but don't take my word for that. Okay, you want to put the cup in and then put the injector in it right there. You don't want to get all your cups in, because that Loctite might start setting up on you. So we'll get all those in and torqued, and then we'll get the return lines on it, and we'll be on our way. So I'll set up a time lapse for you, kind of show you the deal. But 7 more of those, pretty simple after that. All right, we got the injectors in both sides. We're torqued, ready to go. I know I said don't hammer on those, but I had to tap some of those. Usually they just push right in, both O-rings. But it popped down that first one. I had to tap it in, just easy does it. Be very careful if you've got a hammer on these, because if that cup goes sideways or anything, it'll wreck the head so fast. But we got those in. I got the seals and everything loaded on the return lines. I got new banjo bolts. Some of these old ones, they were so tight, they were starting to round out, so we're not going to trust those. So went to O'Reilly's, picked a few of those up. So let's get our return lines on there. Once we get those on, we can we'll go brake clean our valve covers, and we'll be able to drop valve covers on this, and we'll be rocking and rolling. All right, the return lines are on and torqued and looking good. So I'm gonna go get these lowers cleaned out. Just a heads up, careful if you tip these things upside down, because these little isolators will come out. Might not be a bad idea to change them while you're here. They're supposed to, sometimes they kind of snap, like this one on the corner, they kind of go around that thing there. So just keep an eye on those isolators. Don't lose them when you pull them out, or tip this thing over and dump them everywhere. So let me get these cleaned up and on. We'll get some new seals in those, put them on there, and we're on the fast pace now. We got the hard part done. Here we go. Okay, well, I've got this lower on here. These lower gaskets are kind of finicky. If you fight them, just put a little daub of silicone around in a few places to keep them from falling out on you. But these bottom bolts are the longer ones with the flange on them. And these isolators that go in will bottom out, and they set how much crush gets put on that lower gasket. So I'm sure there's a torque spec, but I usually just go down until this isolator touches, and then just a little bit. They're going into aluminum and they're pretty small, so they don't need much. So we'll get these put in here, get the bolts in. We'll be on our way. Yeah, we'll take these down, snug them, start from the center, work towards the front and the back. Just work them on down easy. That'll be that. Alrighty, we got our lower valve covers on. Got the injector harnesses in here. Don't forget to put a little silicone underneath the harness where it passes through. I'm gonna hurry and don't forget to pull these off. We're gonna pull those off. We're gonna get the upper silicone. We'll put that on. This side will be done. We'll get the other side done. We'll be styling. Okay, now these valve covers are symmetrical, but the bolt holes for everything that bolts on this side, and there are bolt holes for everything that bolts on the other side, are already cleared out. So we'll just leave this one on this one and the other one on the other. Oop! What did I tell you? What did I tell you? Do not forget these, or you will not be a happy camper. Your injector lines will not go on if you do not remove these red caps off your inlets. I just about pulled a rookie move. And you want to make sure you get them where these pass-throughs come through. Get them on there, nice and good. Now we're ready. Okay, get all these tightened up. And we'll have her made in the shade. Hopefully. All right, I hurried through the high pressure lines in this side just to keep stuff from going down here. There are 4 different injector lines. There's 2 of these, there's 2 of those, 2 of those, and 2 of those. Just go through. If you have 2 of these in your hand, leave one on the bench, and your wide ones go around the breather here, and then your long ones go on the outside because they have to reach further to get to the injectors off the rail. So I'll get this other side going, and we about got her made. All right, we got the injector high pressure lines on both sides. So these little clipper boppers, you put them on And then these just screw in here to kind of help lock everything in place. Just screw these down, keep a little side pressure like you're tightening that injector nut, and tighten this thing down, give it a little cinch, and that's it. Okay, we're done there. All that's left is hooking up, just bolting on all our accessories there. We got to put the coolant pipe back in, plug in all our wiring. Nothing too major, so probably won't record much of that. Yeah, hopefully you guys learned something from that. If you did, give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't, but keep an eye out for this one, because this one's going to be, we're swapping it into that square body. And big thanks to injectorsdirect.com. If you guys need some injectors, been good for me. I got 170,000 miles out on the work truck. Still starts great and everything. So this one should run good. Like I said, injectors are good, and we had some good supervision. He made sure everything was all torqued and perfect. So we'll see you in the next one.